So today we had a driver bail on us last minute on a local in the Michigan port, Huron. So this got put on me last minute, so I didn't really have much trip planning to do, but pretty easy delivery. But if you're not too busy, you're in for a treat today because we're going right through downtown Detroit. Well, not necessarily downtown, but you'll see everything. You'll see 8 Mile, you'll see all of the steel factories, the automobile industries, you'll see all that. So if you're not too busy, jump on here and check it out because you are in for a treat today. And we also have, you'll notice snow flying. There's a winter weather advisory in effect until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it started at 8 a.m. and it ends at 1 a.m. So you are in for a treat because we are literally winter weather advisory trucking, or snow and ice trucking, or however you would like to phrase that. I do have the camera system. I'm just waiting to put it in. I'm kind of trying to decide on how I'm going to go about doing it. So one thought was hook it up per the manufacturer specs, the way they suggest it, which is it has separate trigger bars, so it's a 5-camera system. And what happens is there's a forward facing, well, I can set the cameras up however I want to. So there's forward facing, this is how I'm going to set it up. There'll be a left camera and a right camera on each mirror. Then there'll be a reverse camera. Basically, I'm going to have a 360 view, in which case I'm going to put you right in the driver's seat. So already we see a disabled vehicle right here. And this is Michigan, so these people are used to this weather. But there is a winter weather advisory in effect. Right now, it started at 8 o'clock this morning, and we're all the way up by Lake Huron right now, and you can see it's coming down pretty good. The stuff that's on the road right now was not on the road this morning when I came up through here. So I've been here for a couple hours now. Like I said, this load got put on me kind of last minute, and I wasn't real sure what the weather was going to look like until I got up here. The roads were pretty clear, but if you know anything about Michigan, it can just dump on you. So you see how fast it's coming down now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some activity out here. And you know, I don't wish accidents on anybody, but the fact is they happen. Now the good thing is we are in Michigan, so people up here know how to travel in winter weather. And right now we're on I-94 southbound. Like I said, we were all the way up at Lake Huron. I was at the port of Huron. I just delivered there. I got unloaded pretty quick, actually. So now I'm on my way back down south to pick up my backhaul out of Findlay, Ohio. But we got a treat for you today because we're going right through Detroit. We'll go right by 8 Mile, which is famously known for the Eminem video. Great movie. I like the movie anyways. So I don't know how everybody else feels about 8 Mile, but I felt like it was a pretty cool, pretty interesting movie to watch. But this weather here is not going to let up anytime soon. And, you know, I'm praying nobody gets into an accident, but it just depends. Like, You'll see when we get down into the heart of Detroit, I'll be going the speed limit, which is 65 for trucks, and these vehicles are passing me like I'm standing still. So this truck has adaptive cruise control and a collision mitigation system. So it's got a forward radar on it. And right there was the speed limit sign at 70 for cars and 65 for trucks. So I can tell how fast the vehicles are going in front of me, and they were passing me at 80 miles an hour. Faster than that. So that's probably not going to change that much. Like I said, these people are used to this weather. So I really don't think that this snow will slow them down, but you're in for a treat because basically this is ice and snow road trucking, not to be confused with that other very popular show that has a similar title. So it's in effect. There's a winter weather advisory, and it wasn't even snow when I got to Michigan this morning, but you can see it's coming down real good right now. And it's not going to let up, so the winter weather advisory is in effect until 1 a.m. It started at 8 a.m. But like I said, it really just started snowing like bad. I had some and stuff this morning, but nothing like this. It's coming down pretty good, and if you know anything about Michigan, it can just dump on you. So, we'll see. We might see 2-3 inches of snow before we can get back to Ohio, because I'm all the way up at Lake Huron right now, but we're getting ready to go right through Detroit, which it's a pretty interesting. I like Detroit, honestly. I know people have mixed feelings about it, but I've got a good friend of mine. His people from up here. His mom used to live up here. We came up here and shot some dice and played some video games with some of his people. And went and got some food. They got good food around here. So the place we went was a chicken joint, and there were people lined up out the door. You had to take a number to get this food. So if that tells you anything, and I'm not a real big coleslaw fan, but man, listen, I was taking these fries and dipping them in that coleslaw like it was nobody's business, So we're going to see some weather. This vehicle right here in front of me is going 60 miles an hour, which that's fine, it's snowing out. But the roads are treated, you can tell they're treated. And up here they use the liquid. They use the salt too with the liquid because it gets so cold up here. But honestly, it was -6 when I left Ohio. And it's 18 degrees up here. It might be a little colder with the wind chill, but it was actually warmer in Ohio than it was up here, which is kind of crazy because, well, not necessarily, because you see those wildfires out in California. That's from the Santa Ana winds coming out of the north. And that's probably why it's warmer up here than it is down there right now. So if you don't know, our weather comes from ocean currents. A lot of people don't know that. So every 4 years we'll have either El Nino or we'll have La Nina. And when we get the La Nina, that's the warm weather currents. And you'll get like those Santa Ana winds that blow off in that ocean, and then you get the warmer weather, which is why it was so dry this year. We had droughts in Ohio. They passed national emergency laws so that they could get farmers reimbursed for the mass amount of crops that they lost because of the droughts. Billions of dollars, man. So when we talk about weather, there's severe weather catastrophes that people don't really see that much on the news. That drought, that impacted people in Ohio, a lot of people. And they went by counties. They did different drought levels for different counties. So what they're experiencing out there out west right now, they get a lot of their moisture from the runoff from the mountains. So they didn't have the real bad winter last year, so you got less runoff. And it's also their drinking water, but they gotta get rain in the summer months. Otherwise, that's what happens. You get the wildfires. And back when we were running teams, my wife and I, there was a whole bunch of them out there, 2020, 2021, 2022. There were times when we were routed up through Northern California, going up through Oregon, going through California, Washington, and they had entire highways shut down because of the wildfires. So if you don't know, those things are really, really dangerous, man. And people don't understand this fact either. What's happening out there has a ripple effect across the whole nation. So billions of dollars. They're estimating like $20-some million just in insurance claims. That affects everybody's premiums. Because I guarantee out of those 12,000 structures and 20,000 plus acres that burn, and every one of those people might have different insurances, or at least they're probably touching all the major insurance companies. So everybody's premium goes up as a result of that. Just like when we had the real bad storms a couple of years ago, that had a ripple effect. My homeowner's insurance went over $1,000 this year because of that. So you might not see it automatically, but there's economic impacts and there's a ripple effect. So that's what's happening, but we got some winter weather. And we'll get to see the Detroit skyline. We'll see all of the automotive factories and the steel factories, which they basically support each other. So the automobile industry leans heavily on the steel industry. And even though I run dry van, I used to run steel. But dry van depends on the steel industry too, because we have quite a bit of freight that comes from automobile manufacturers, and those again rely on the economy and on the steel. So obviously you gotta have some value on this stuff. We don't have real good signal right here, so it's kind of disrupting my live stream. But it's going to be a treat once we get Detroit. You'll get to see 8 Mile. Like I said, you'll see all those factories, and it's a pretty cool skyline if you've never been through Detroit. There went one of those. So pay attention to these trucks, because I hadn't seen a lot of them. I thought haul freight up here, but not a lot. I haven't been up here a whole lot. So in Michigan, they don't have permits. What it is the state of Ohio, if you don't know, every state's different on the weights that you're allowed to carry as a truck driver. So Ohio, anything over 80,000 pounds, you have to have a permit. Now that's for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 axles. So Michigan's a little different. You don't have to have a permit up here. It goes by axle, so you're allowed a certain amount of weight per axle. So what they do so that they can haul more weight, because it's better for the carrier, it's better for the customer. See, this guy's got 1, 2, 3, 2 tag axles, and then his 3 truck axles. So that guy had 5, 6, 7, 8 axles on that tanker. So if you don't know tankers, liquid is very heavy. People don't realize. Yeah, dump truck came in and it had, oh man, it had all my axles, 7, 8 axles. So one we just passed right there. This guy's space if he wants to get over and give him room. If I was that truck, even though he's on the ramp, I would probably give that driver space. So let's see what's going on. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 axles on that dump truck. So he's, I guarantee, probably hauling over 100,000 pounds. So like I said, in Ohio, anything over 80,000 pounds, you have to have a permit. Up here, it goes per axle. So you'll see Michigan trucks that are just loaded with axles. Now you see trucks like what I'm driving with just the 2 tandems and the 2 dually axles, which are pretty standard for semi-trucks. And then when we pass a Michigan truck, you'll see all those extra axles, which is actually pretty cool, I think. So once we get up on one of these dump trucks, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what they do is, and I'm not sure what the weight limit is per axle. It might depend on what you're hauling. But I've seen, so a company I used to work for that hauled steel, they had some flatbeds that had generally like the tri-axle in the back, and then they would have like 1 or 2 tag axles. So a tag axle is an axle that you can lower down. So when you're not loading, and some trailers will have the tri-axle, and then the third axle is a tag axle. And they make trucks that have tag axles. So you'll have the 2 axles, the 2 drives, like on this truck right here. That front set of drives will be a tag axle, and he can lift that up. So the more rubber you have on the road, more rubber you have touching road, the less fuel mileage you get. So that's why they make those tag axles. And it saves you wear and tear, maintenance. Here we're coming up. No, that's just a regular flatbed, I think. But I do see a dump up ahead, so let's see. He looks like he's stuck behind a slow truck. So if we get up there around him, and I'm not racing anybody, but we'll see. What right here is the perfect example. He's got the tri-axle. The rear axles are touching the ground, and the front third axle on his trailer is a tag axle. So it's just hydraulic. When he's loaded, he can drop that third axle down, and he can put more weight on there, and he can haul more weight. So if you don't know, a lot of freight pays by weight, and especially if you're hauling steel, and you'll see these big dump beds with all those crazy axles on it. They're probably hauling scrap steel, recycled materials, and it usually pays by the ton. So the more axles they got, the more they can haul, the more the loads pay. And it's also good for the customer too. So the less loads they have to ship, the more efficiently they can run their business. So they can throw it all on one load. Yeah, that load might cost them more, but they will have to move less loads to achieve their functionality, whatever it is. So we're seeing quite a bit of vehicles off to the side. I'm not sure what's going on. It's hard to tell. It could be weather related, and we're passing all kinds of these dumps, but I haven't seen them on our side yet. But I'm sure we'll come up with one eventually. But you see them when they pass me, they got like 5 axles. Just on in the back. That ain't including 2, 3 tag axles. And and then all the drive axles on the truck itself. So we're getting ready to, yep, here's 21 Mile Road, so we're getting ready to come into Detroit, y'all. Detroit is 28 miles, right there's the sign. We got 6 miles to Mount Clemens, and I'm getting ready to get over because these guys are fast. Oh yeah, they're just starting to drive crazy now. I'm going to get over here, and there's a sign that says trucks use right 2 lanes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And this guy's going 67, which isn't bad. And I'm probably going to stay right here because the speed limit for trucks is 65. So I'm cool with 67. And the speed limit for cars is 70. You'll notice, like that car that just flew off around there, went across 3 lanes of traffic. These cars up here go 80 miles an hour, so I'm keeping fast. And especially once we get down in here to the Detroit area, you're going to be amazed what these people do. I've seen probably 5 or 6 cars already this morning just cutting people off. We just keep slowing down more. I keep letting off the accelerator and I'm still gaining. And meanwhile, people are flying up around me 80 miles an hour. But that lane out there is for cars only. That's not for trucks. And I have heard, I personally never had that ticket, but I do know people that have had that ticket for illegal lane use. So if you're a big truck and it says use right 2 lanes, that is a ticketable offense to be in that lane out there. So if you get caught in that lane and you know, you actually get caught, so you get put overboard, it is a ticket. It's illegal lane use, something like that. Don't quote me on that. It might be different according to the states you're in. But we're headed into Detroit. We've got about 25 miles and we'll be coming through Detroit. So right now we're on the outskirts. But we just passed 21 Mile Road, so it starts going down to 20 Mile Road and then it will get all the way down to, we'll go right past 8 Mile Road. So I'm getting back in the middle lane because we got heavy merge over here. And that right-hand lane gets really, really rough once we get down through here. Probably won't be as bad because I'm empty right now, but this morning I was 45,000 pounds. And man, I don't know if you ever travel Michigan, 23 north and south, 75 north and south, it's a rough ride. When I hauled steel, a couple of times I came up here and I felt like I went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson. I was so sore the next day just from getting thrown around from the road. You'll see when we get up here to 75, it's pretty bumpy. And if you're in that right lane, it's pretty bumpy. It's about like hitting an actual speed bump every, I don't know, every few seconds or so. You see like the strips of blacktop going horizontal. So every one of those, it becomes like a speed bump on 75. It is a rough ride. You'll see. So I did a whole time lapse of the load that I brought this morning, so I'm finishing that upload. So you're going to see the whole ride up here, which was about 3.5 hours. Just going to slide over here. And some of these forks go by. Which is the expression that truck drivers use for regular passenger vehicles. And again, like when you have this heavy merge, that's usually just to get over that merge. there's a little gap there, so I'm just going to maintain my lane. And slow progress is probably 18, 19 miles from Detroit. This is Metropolitan Parkway. So, coming up on 16 mile. There's the winter weather advisory from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Farther up there, it's until 1 a.m., so maybe they changed it. Maybe that's just farther north. So this is St. Clair area, Lake St. Clair Shores, you got Sugar Road, you got Roseville, 16 mile road, there's Crawford. This is basically like a suburb of Detroit, metropolitan area, so we're on the outskirts of Detroit right now. Another 10 minutes, we'll be looking at Detroit. Traffic's moving pretty good right now. It'll probably slow down because the more you see people flying up around the 85 now, it's like a funnel, you know. If you try to pour too much into a funnel at one time, it'll start to overflow. And that's usually when we start seeing accidents too. Because people try to get pushy, and then all of a sudden their time's more important than somebody else's time. So this guy's going 60 on the start passing here. I don't want to get caught up in that lane over there because I'll be here forever. Especially the closer we get to Detroit, the more congested it's going to be. Oh, I should have an accident coming up pretty soon for 75. Right now we're on I-94. What they say it could disturb these lane. That's what I like to call that. There's over at the mess. 16 miles. So these truck stops here that are right outside of Detroit, most of them have paid for parking, unless you're there only for an hour. So if you go and get fuel, you can get parking for like $10. If you don't get fuel, parking's going to be like $20. Yeah, I think if you get 50 gallons or more of fuel, basically put your parking in half. And it used to be cheaper than it just keeps going up. Because we're in a condensed area, so Chicago's kind of the same way. If you can even find parking in Chicago. So here, these are also monitored truck stops. So generally they'll have a security guard or they'll have an actual officer on duty 24/7. Because people know that truck drivers make decent money, most of us. Some of us, should make more, but don't we all? So here's 14 Mile Road. We're getting closer to 8 Mile. And we're actually on the outskirts of Detroit right now. And so truck stops become a kind of a target for criminals outside of Chicago, Gary, Indiana, which is probably 50 miles from Chicago. There's a truck stop up there at Lake Station, Indiana. Literally right on the other side of Illinois. So it's probably 50 to 100 miles from where Notre Dame's located. Which is right now where that's located. That truck stop, I've been there probably 10 times. out of the 10 times I've been to Lake Station Flying J, probably 5 times I've been woke up to either panhandlers, prostitutes, or vagrants, or nomads, whatever you want to call them. They will knock on your door. They'll go door to door, and there's a cop there in the parking lot. They don't care. They duck in between the semis. They'll hide under the trailers. They will go in between your semi and your bobtail and hide out and wait for the cop to do his round. And then they'll go door to door, knocking on truckers' doors, waking us up, either panhandling or trying to prostitute. Or what do you call it, solicitation. And that's a very real thing. And like I've seen kids out there doing it, and it's sad. Usually if I got change or a few bucks, I'll buy them something to eat or something, or I'll give them food out of my cooler or out of my fridge. You didn't really want to give them money because they just don't like drugs. And then what happens if they overdose or something like that? There's 12 Mile Road. Then you got to have that on your conscience. So, and it just encourages the behavior. So they're out there for a reason, supply and demand. They know people's going to give them money if they go door to door. So that's what they do. So don't encourage that behavior. At some point, and I'm not judging nobody. I've been homeless myself because of addiction and life choices. But the key word there is life choices. At some point, time or another, I made a choice and it got me into that situation. Now, once you're into that situation, you lose your choice because addiction is a disease. And people are disposed to it genetically. That's been proven. And then there's other biosocial, psycho factors. But I digress. Let's just keep them in our prayers. We're coming up on Detroit right now. If you just hopped in, you're in for a treat. We got the Detroit skyline coming up right now. Right here to our left is 11 Mile Road. Notice the street sign, 11 Mile Road. We're headed southbound to Lansing, Michigan. If you don't know what Lansing, Michigan, it's the home of the Michigans. So Big Ten, pretty good. They usually got a pretty good ball team. Me personally, I'm a fan of college football. So next Monday, the Ohio State Buckeyes will be taking on Notre Dame, and we will be winning the national championship. So go Bucks. So Lansing is home of the Michigan State Spartans, and we are officially in Detroit, y'all. So you're going to see a lot of steel factories. You're going to see a lot of automotive industry. You will see a lot of smokestacks, and you will see a lot of industry. So at the peak of the Industrial Revolution, Detroit came into its own, and within the last 50 years, it is seeing a steady increase. So if you don't know, the United States of America is a business, and so is each and every state. And that's where you hear about gross domestic product. So Michigan's GDP, and basically you can take the 50 states and you can rank them 1 through 50. Michigan's probably down towards the lower end, whereas they used to be at the higher end. The government's bailed them out, and that costs everybody money, but that's okay. It's a business, so we don't want our automotive industry to fail any more than we want our entire United States economy to fail. So I would say that was necessary in a lot of ways, because we do have a pretty big export of automobiles, and we also have quite a bit of economic value within the United States for automobiles. So you could actually rank the United States according to how many countries there are, like 170 countries in the world or something. I'm not okay big graphic. The world economist, but so we have what's called gross domestic product. It just happens that GDP for Michigan is primarily automobiles. And that might have changed, they obviously have some very big institutions as far as colleges go, which I'll just use Ohio State for an example. Probably one of the largest institutions, well, not even probably, it's one of the largest institutions in the nation and in fact in the world. So if you think about like the James Cancer Center, you think about Ohio State athletics, which is world renowned. You think about the Ohio State University, which produces all kinds of very intelligent and meaningful individuals that go on to prove to be very resourceful and very necessary parts of society. And the medical campus, the Ohio State University medical campus, OSU, is world renowned as well. So I'm quite sure that people fly in from all over the world to receive medical care from that university. So Michigan's not much different from that. They have some very prominent universities, which are institutions. And these institutions generate hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue for their state. We're 6 miles from 75. I'm just kind of hanging out right here. I don't know why this guy's really slow in front of me. It's still snowing. You can't hardly see it. But we're in Detroit right now. Let me see. Have we passed 8 miles yet? We could have passed it. I think it's off 75 now, so don't hold me to that. I think we're going to pass 8 miles on 75. State Road 75. Well, Interstate. Sorry about that. Interstate 75. So while we're on the topic of Interstate, if you don't know, the odd interstate numbers run north and south. Even interstate numbers run east to west. Does anybody know what the 3-digit interstate numbers are? They have higher and lower 3-digit interstate numbers. Right now we're on 696. So the higher number of 3-digit interstates are thoroughfares. They go right through the city, but they're kind of like bypasses. So a lot of times you'll see the signs that say hazmat prohibited. Those are the ones that go right through the city. You are not allowed to haul hazardous materials right through the city, not for through trucks. Now, if you're delivering in the city and that's your route, then yes, you're allowed to do a delivery. But hazmat materials are not allowed to go through the city, so that's why you'll see those signs. So we're on 696, which means we're going right through Detroit. Now, the lower number, 3-digit interstates, those are outer belts. So truck drivers know. If they don't know, they should know. Outer belts are good for avoiding that congestive traffic that goes right through cities like Detroit, Chicago, LA. They've got the 880, 808. So those are going to be your outer belts. So those are used for mainly for travel purposes. It's all about the infrastructure. So the interstates that go right through the city, the 2-digit ones, those are to get downtown. Those are for passenger vehicles primarily. There's an 11-mile road. So we're going to be coming up on 8 Mile real soon. Excuse me. So yeah, those 2-digit interstates, those are for passenger vehicles to get to work and stuff, or if you got business to do. And you will see semis go down through there. Generally, if there's heavy traffic, we're probably going to use the outer belt like I am right now. And if there's not real bad traffic, like in the middle of the night or very early in the morning, I'll take 71 right through Columbus because there's no reason necessarily not to. Now, everybody know why? Because we're coming up on the 75 South split. So we're going to start seeing congestive traffic. And you'll see people doing that right there, cutting right out in front of you. So you really got to pay attention. So right now we're coming up on the 75 split. And we are right downtown Detroit. So this is the Detroit, Toledo, Flint exit for southbound that we'll be taking. And that's why you're seeing a lot of traffic, because we are right in Detroit right now. So we got some Detroit traffic. Look at that truck just cut him off. That semi just cut that guy off. So that right there causes accidents. That is our exit over. See, if I'm getting over like that, like you seen, I just made that lane change. I had plenty. There was probably 2 miles between me and the closest vehicle back there. So it just, you gotta know, like right now would not be wise to make a lane change because there's vehicles flying over us. And really, most of these people over here probably exiting. And if you're running a GPS right now, it's probably giving you options to detour, less congestion. We're just going to stick it out because my exit is 1.5 miles from here. See, they're all going to run over that right lane thinking it's going to get them somewhere, and they're going to just be stuck over there. And I'm just going to get my voice rest. Red Bull. So I left out at 2 o'clock this morning. Got up here about 7, but I had a little mishap. So I got to my trailer. Dropping the buckets, and I had the wrong trailer, so that was about a waste of an hour. I hooked up my trailer and everything, and luckily, thankfully, thank God, I had a premonition or a moment of clarity just to check my paperwork, make sure I was going to the right place. And sure enough, they had gave me the wrong trailer number. But I guess the customer gave us the wrong trailer number. So I just went in there and hooked up with the trailer number I had. Well, good thing I checked my paperwork because that load was going the complete opposite direction. So -6 degrees. I had to swap my trailer out and get the right trailer. So that was an hour just wasted.
You have a new message from dispatch on January 14, 9:01 a.m. You have been unassigned from order 1,039,388, sent by Tina Kling.
Well, that sucks. Just lost my back off. Oh. Switch it back on.
5 down to your.
Hello, Motor.
That's the nature of the industry. I was en route to pick up my backhaul in Finland, and another driver came off of a load, so that load became available. And closer, so less deadhead miles. And more loaded miles means more money, so more revenue on my truck. And money on my paycheck, ultimately. So that happens. So we gotta constantly be ready for the fluid nature of the industry. It's just like that. Things change, which is fine. It's been this way, probably always been this way. Mile and a half away, 8 Mile Road, y'all. Home of Eminem, famous movie, 8 Mile. And the trailer park, B Rabbit. So, also, if you don't know, Kid Rock from Detroit. Very good artist. So you'll start seeing the industrial side of Detroit here real quick, like. So this next exit should be 8 Mile. There, 8 Mile. Home of B Rabbit. We're right up the road for B Rabbit, where he got into it with Wade and old girl, God rest her. So Brittany Murphy, get your last name. Pretty good movie. I liked it. And today, maybe kids these days, I sound so old saying that. Kids these days probably ain't even seen 8 Mile. They're like, what is that? Comment below if you think that technology is making us dumber. Yeah, for sure. What are we going to do when AI answers all of our questions and we can't answer our own questions? You think maybe that's what they mean about iRobot and stuff like that? So if AI answers all of our questions and does our work for us, then how are we going to answer our own questions? Right? Something to think about. Yeah, granted, you have the human factor that creates the software, creates the programming, and inputs the programming to the computers or robots or whatever, AI, same thing, technology. But then what happens when AI utilizes all these different data points and begins to, maybe not be self-aware, but so nowadays, especially, people rely heavily, and I do too, rely heavily on search engines and various technological features. Right lane closed at I-94, so we're about to see some traffic here. And here comes the snow right on time, y'all. Right smack dab in the middle of Detroit. Here comes the snow. Yeah, I'm sorry, I suck. I do not have a career in singing. So now you can begin to see the industry. So see all the factories. Also home of the Detroit Lions playoff contenders. I've been so busy working, I haven't even, when I do get a chance to watch football, I'm so tired from working 60, 70 hours a week that I fall asleep in the middle of the game. So I couldn't even tell you who's winning right now. All I know is the Cowboys didn't make it. That guy about got rear-ended right there. Which sucks because it's the first time they've been in playoffs since 2020. But Dak got hurt, and it's his history. We got to do some restructuring, though. Jerry needs to step back and let coaches do the job. And, the owner is doing all the work, and who's going to run the business? So he needs to just run the business and let the coaches do the work. We got some really long ways to go on restructuring our team. But I like Detroit. They're pretty solid ball team. And I think it did them a lot of good getting Jared Goff. And also, I think Matthew Stafford. Man, they were balling out yesterday. I couldn't believe how hard them boys were playing. That was a good game. I'm sure they won. I quit watching when they were up 20-some points. And for Minnesota to be 14 and whatever, they were 14 and 2, whatever. Rams just dogged. So again, we're coming up on the 75 exit, so we're seeing all this traffic from the 94-75 split. I'll have to get over in that left-hand lane. Maybe I just got a major whiff of marijuana. Crazy how you can smell that just by driving by somebody. But downtown Detroit, if you're just tuning in, we're on 75 South, and this is the 94 exit, so we got a lot of congestion right here. And I'm heading to Toledo, Ohio to get loaded for my backhaul. I just delivered up in Lake Huron. We're actually Port Huron, right off Lake Huron. Right here is, if you look at the overpass sign right there, Detroit city limits. We are now officially in the city, which I rode the outer belt or the thoroughfare bypass as long as I could. I got to get on 75 South, so I didn't really have much of a choice. Right now, there's a winter weather advisory in effect until 2 p.m. So we're seeing snow starting to stick. There wasn't anything when I came up this morning. Now it's starting to stick. So that's usually not a good sign with all of this traffic, and then as the roads conditions get a little worse, usually when you start seeing some issues. And the other day I went to Indiana Saturday, but it was coming down. I went to Indiana from Ohio. I didn't really go that far, 180 miles or something around that. I seen probably 10 accidents. Probably 8 of them on camera. One, the guy flipped his truck, rode his SUV all the way up an embankment. He was probably 20 feet up an embankment. So you see like that embankment over there off the highway, he was all the way up at the top of that where he rode his truck. So like how fast was that person going? He or she, I don't know. The driver. He or she or they or them or whatever their pronouns are, was all the way at the top of the embankment. So how fast were they going? Was that person going to get all the way up there? And they rolled their vehicle. So we're still in Detroit. You see a lot of industry around here. Got a lot of congestion running down. 0.8 miles to 75. I'm gonna have to get on. It's probably what everybody's doing. But you got 94 also. And then pay attention to your traffic signs because it'll tell you your best options. 8 miles, 11 minutes. 696 we just came from. About the same. I was hoping that it was going to be one of those mega accident trucks, but it wasn't. 94, which went all the way across the top of the United States. 94 and 90 pretty much run together. But when you get way up north, 94 splits off from 90. So 90 goes across Ohio, New York, all the way to the East Coast, all the way to the West Coast, all the way to Oregon. And 94 will go north of that. So 94, you're in like Minnesota, North Dakota, Washington, Michigan, all of those really, really northern states. So I'm just going to get over here because I got room to do it. And my exit's to the left anyways. What you got the graffiti on? Oh, you can't see it. I don't know if they're waiting to get over 75 because it doesn't look like it's a whole lot of people getting over 94. So I'm thinking everybody's just kind of vying for position here on the 75. They're trying to get their position. So if they get their position, basically their time's more important than mine because what we do is we just try to get all the way up in front in position because my time's more important than other people's. But I'm just kidding because I do it myself. We all do it, right? We're like, wait till the last second to get over. But listen, if everybody just maintain their speed, right? And then everything would flow real nice. But no, so we try to position ourselves, and we'll position ourselves in front of everybody, and then you get the funnel effect. So, like I said earlier, you take you put oil in your car, right? You got that little funnel. Well, if you pour it too fast, it starts to overflow. So that's what's happening here. This is the funnel effect. Everybody's pouring into this small little inlet down here, and it's overflowing. And that's how you get 5, 6, 7 miles backed up. Now, if everybody just maintains their speed, and they don't try to position like their time's more valuable than the next person, which, I'm not guilty of that ever, and nobody else ever is, then you don't have it. You just maintain your speed. But really, the thing is, the problem is it's a congested area. We're in Detroit, so there's a lot of people here. A lot of people in Detroit. So that's, and it's 9 o'clock, so this is the equivalent of rush hour. If we were in Columbus right now, we would be seeing the same exact thing. If we were in Cleveland, Toledo, which we're not far from Toledo, we're about an hour from Toledo. And at this rate of speed, we'll be there in 17 hours. And we're an hour away, so figure that one out, y'all. We're an hour away, but at this rate, we'll get there in 17 hours. Hey, here's one of the worst jobs in the world. I wouldn't trade that guy jobs for nothing. Shoveling dirt, man. Oh, God bless his soul. Better him than me, Don't get me wrong, trucking is very tiresome. People don't understand how exhausting trucking is because you don't think of trucking as a physical thing. Now, let me tell you, if you're hauling steel, you are working your butt off, man. Now, when I do driving no-touch freight, isn't so physically strenuous. It's physically exhausting because after the end of a 14, 16-hour shift, you're just exhausted, but it's more so mentally exhausted. So you will get, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an OTR driver or a truck driver, you get so mentally exhausted that your body is physically exhausted, if that makes any kind of sense. So at the end of a long day, it doesn't matter if I went 150 miles or if I went 700 miles. Because I've been in this truck working, even if it is physical labor, I am exhausted at the end of a 12, 14-hour shift. And sometimes a 16-hour shift. So if you got inclement weather or inclement traffic conditions, you can take a 2-hour exemption, which sometimes I have to do. So then that 14-hour shift turns into a 16-hour shift. Now, it doesn't matter if I spend it sitting in a dock waiting to get loaded or unloaded, or if I spend it driving. It is exhausting. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not physical, but it becomes physical at the end of a 14, 16-hour shift. So correct me if I'm wrong, drivers. Comment below. Oh, this is slick. This is slick right here, y'all. Wow, that got slick real quick. Right here, downtown Detroit, y'all. Here's what we've been waiting for. Here's your payoff. We are right downtown Detroit. We're on 75 South, right downtown Detroit. There's Rush Street. There's Tiger Stadium right over there. And Lions, there's Tiger Stadium. You can see it from America Park or whatever it is. Yeah, Comerica Park. Rosa Parks Boulevard. And right in the corner from. Check out that bird. That is cool. I like that. There's something to be said about art like that, you know. Probably not for everybody, but I like it. somebody took the time and effort to get up there and paint that. How long did it take to paint that big old mural like that? That thing's 10 stories high. Here's $15 grand. Real close to Detroit Lions Stadium. I told you we were going right through Detroit. It took us a little while, but there's traffic. So there you go. There's Monte Carlo over there. Get some of this salt off of here. Here's Rosa Parks Boulevard. Right there. Very prominent historical figure. And here's the Bridge to Canada sign. So we went right by the Bridge to Canada, and I'll show you when we get up here again. You'll see it. Actually, I got time lapse of it. I'll be posting later. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. So I'm about to put in a 5 HD 360-degree dash camera system. And what I want it to be is like you're in the driver's seat. So you'll see everything that I see. I'm going to have 2 cameras on the mirrors facing backwards. And I'll have 1 camera facing forwards at the driver position. And then I'll have a driver facing camera. So you'll see me as I'm driving. And then I will also have a rear facing camera. And we'll have multi-view where we can see all 5 cameras at one time. I haven't quite figured out yet if I'm going to have software, if I'm going to use like OBS Studio. If you know what to use in that situation, drop it in the comments below, let me know. Or if I'm going to have to go through, I may end up having to put like a hotspot in here. There's the Bridge to Canada right there, y'all. So I may have to put like a hotspot in. So I got, and that's the Bridge to Canada right there. I mean, that thing is beautiful at night. It's all lit up all the way across there. So I might have to put some kind of internet in so I can hook up my laptop and just stream straight through my computer, so that we can get all 5 cameras at once on multi-view. And then the system I have, I'll be able to trigger, say if I'm turning right, I can switch from multi-view to that 1 camera on that side. So you'll see everything that I'm seeing. It's going to put you right in the driver's seat. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. We got a lot of cool content coming up. And then I'll post that time-lapse. I got a time-lapse video of the whole ride up here. And it's got that Bridge to Canada and Detroit all lit up. So it'll be a pretty cool video. It's got basically my entire day from when I pick my load up to when I drop my load off and all the way in between. So you'll see everything that we do as truck drivers. Now this is a regional route. So 3.5 hour drive. Not bad. I'll be home tonight. I'll sleep in my own bed. Now, OTR, that video looks a little different because like when I ran team with my wife, we would run 3,000 miles. We'd take a load coast to coast. We would start in New Jersey and go all the way to Bakersfield, California. And we'd run that a couple times a week. Heck, we probably had 8,000 miles in driving. But it's a team, that truck never stops. But it's a trade-off. So if you run local, and I'm going to do a video on this too. I'm going to do a video on the difference between running cross towns, running local, running dedicated, running regional. Drop a comment below if you're interested in that. And running OTR, and running teams, running solo. And then also I'm going to decipher to you or articulate the difference between running a tanker. Now you got this truck right here on the right. Does anybody know what that is? If you do, drop it in the comments below. That is a container truck. So they drop a container right on top of that. That guy just, but you see those attachments, he'll just strap that container right to that truck. So those come off of the port. You'll see them anywhere there's like a major waterway. They come right off of the coast. They come over on them big barges. And I'm looking to my left over here. You can't see it, but there's a big container yard right here to my left. And there's one of them multi-axle trucks right there. So there's the big container yard over there. I kind of missed it. Check out how many axles this guy's got. We're going to count them. This tanker, he's probably got 160,000 pounds of liquid in there. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 axles on that truck. He's probably got 120,000 pounds of liquid. And look at that. It's hazmat. It's flammable. That's petroleum. That thing right there is essentially just a torpedo rolling down the road. And then here's what me and my wife used to haul. That steel pipe right there. We hauled that all over the place. She hauled quite a bit of it. She used to train drivers on how to secure that. So at 110 pounds, she was out here hauling 40,000 pounds of pipe and training grown men on how to haul it. And she worked a lot of them under the table. Major industrial area right here. And there's your pipe load. That's probably 40,000 pounds of pipe, maybe 30,000. And then look at the axles. It's getting a little slick, y'all, honestly. It's 65, I'm only doing 50 because I can feel my truck. I know what my truck feels like. And there's all that industry I was telling y'all about. We got steel manufacturers, automobile manufacturers, which does go hand in hand, like I told you. Detroit driven. That's a major steel company right there. Let's see. Melvindale. Massive steel factory. Massive. And right there's Marathon. And look right there. Detroit Pistons. Can y'all see that? I told you you'd in for a treat. You didn't believe me, did you? Isn't that cool, yo? Those big old silos. Probably hold, I guess. Many different chemicals and solutions they use to process that steel. It looks like they got quite a bit of snow right here. This was all clear this morning. Trying to see what that factory is. It's a little slick here. You can't treat it. 16 degrees. It's starting to stick. There's a winter weather advisory in effect until 2 a.m. Last time I seen it, that's what it said, but it changed. It was till 1 a.m. And they switched it. There's one of those mega axle flatbeds. Work. On the outskirts of Detroit now. 45 minutes from Toledo. This is usually where the road starts getting pretty rough. So I did excuse the Johnson video was 75 south. And I still don't think this side's as bad as the northbound side. You know when you hit a truck route, right? Because the road just... And this isn't terrible for concrete. Anytime I'm in the concrete road, Indiana, down south, Louisiana, Alabama, 55, north and south, man, that road is horrible. You just hit one bump after another, you're just up and down, up and down. It's like the worst roller coaster right in the middle. It just throws you all over the top. 60 mile an hour because the snow's starting to stick a little bit. Allen Park. But hey, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Hey, smash that subscribe button.